Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or good night, depending on what time zone you're in or what time you watch this video. Today we're back, and this time we're not doing a live stream, but that was fantastic. So thank you to everyone that came out to that. It was truly an honor to have you share your time with me, and for us to get to know each other and just hang out, listen to music, share stories, share the love. That was honestly so fantastic. So thank you all for that. If you weren't able to make it, please do come by on the next one. It was a blast. I think we all had a lot of fun. But today we're not doing a live stream. We're actually watching some Romain. Romain dropped a new song, and if you're not sure who Romain is, he is the individual in the Big Push video, "I Shot the Sheriff," "Road to Zion," and "Hip Hop" that came out and did the guitar solo. That's Romain. Romain Axisa, and he has a new song called "Happy Song" that was released today. So we're gonna check it out, and I'm kind of excited. I hope you're excited too. Love each and every one of you. So without further ado, let's get into it. Ooh, I love this old-timey vibe for the camera.
Who's right or wrong? And does it matter now that we suffer?
Okay, a couple things. One, I really like the old-timey shot of this. I thought this was gonna be a happy song, but I think now I'm starting to get the vibe that it's like a remembering the happy time song. Because we start with who is right or wrong. Does it even matter if we suffer? And that's so true. A lot of the times, like when we're having this kind of argument with anyone, we try to get into that perspective of where we want to win the argument, and at what cost? You know what I mean? At what cost do we try so hard to win an argument? And even if we were right or wrong, does it matter if we've effectively caused some sort of discrepancy or destruction of the relationship itself? Like, does that actually matter? I think that's such an important question. We don't ask ourselves that enough during arguments, because during arguments we're so focused on achieving the goal of winning the argument. What an opening line. I wasn't expecting that at all. That's a beautiful line. I also really like this old-timey feel to the video, where he's just kind of on his own with the guitar. We saw a shot of it was a woman running in the field, which was really nice. Let me just go back to that for a second. Right here. And it's this crazy like retro aesthetic where it almost makes me think of, like, because I'm starting to get the vibe that it's kind of like not an actual happy at the moment song. It's almost like reflecting on the past, and it's the past that is where we find our happiness. So we're trying to put ourselves in that mindset. And so the happy song is actually to transport us to a time where we were happy, and that's what we're trying to do. And that's why we've got this retro vibe, and it really allows some of the colors to pop in the background. Like with her dress, it really stands out. The leaves kind of have this own it's a unique color to them, and I really like that because it almost provides this aesthetic that the past has such a unique tone. You know what I mean? It has such a unique appearance to it because it's special to us, the past, and whereas might contrast to the present, which isn't feeling so nice. And I really like that. Okay, wow, this is a strong start.
I'll write a happy song.
Wait, I need to go back a second.
I'll write a happy song for you to sing along next summer.
Wow.
I'm waiting.
I love the way that this shot. It's almost like Romain is having these thoughts on his own, and what he's seeing of her is actually like a memory, right? It's not because she's no longer maybe with him, and that's why this song actually started. Is because they had this argument and it blew out of proportion, and now all of a sudden she's leaving. But he's thinking back to memories of her, and she's in a wedding dress, which is when you're first getting married. Your first the moment that your love is strongest that it's ever been, until it is stronger later, hopefully. And that's what he's remembering, because maybe that was the strongest for their relationship, right? And then it slowly started to deteriorate because of problems. I have no idea, but I love that he says, I'm gonna write a happy song and maybe you'll play it next summer. And it's like, yeah, even if I'm not there with you physically, at least the song will be. And in a way, I'm still happy. I still cherish that you're still enjoying my music. And in a way, in that way, a part of me is still with you, even though I'm not. And I really, really, really just, that's so powerful. Oh man, and we got all these shots of her kind of like just doing her own thing, walking through the forest, smelling the flowers, all these happy moments. And whereas when we get shots of Romain, he's on his own, he's playing the guitar, he's not even looking us in the eye in these shots. He's looking away from the camera because it's like he's too hurt to look directly at us because he's too, it would be too vulnerable. And that's, oh.
I'm way out of my mind. Things are grey most of the time. It's getting harder to find a happy song.
Oh man. Look at the way those colors pop. And also look how beautiful those two colors happen to be. Red and black. But yeah, he says he's way out of his mind. Everything just feels gray, and he's trying to find a new happy song. And I love that like the just the lyrical metaphor of that, because it's like everything is gray because everything just lost all of its tones. And then here in most of the color shots, we have a lot of gray, right? It's a lot of gray tones, except some things that pop off the screen, like this red and black. And even amidst that, Romain is sitting like around with flowers surrounding him, which is like your life should feel all flowery and powerful, but you're just seeing gray, so it doesn't make you feel that way. To the point where he takes the daisies. Shout out to my mom; her first name is Daisy, and then begins to rotate them like he's trying to see through petal colored glasses. And maybe in a way to provide a different tone to his vision, right? Instead of all the grays, he's trying to see a new kind of color, right? The same way that we think of like rose colored glasses when you try to look at life and you think of everything as positive, so you're seeing it through rose colored glasses. What a cool, like, just visual representation of that. Oh my god. And then he says, I'm trying to find a new happy song, right? Like, I need to find a new one because all the other songs that you had that were happy, maybe they were also attached to this other person that played such an important pivotal role in your life, and now that they're gone, none of them feel that happy anymore. So you're trying to actively write one, and that's how we're getting this like melancholic, just a muted version of happiness in this song, because everything else feels that way. And even though now we're trying to write a new song, it still comes out kind of this almost like reduced emotion version of a song, right? Because even the background, the music that we're getting, the guitar, like Romain's known for his guitar skills, but we're really getting a very simple track of guitar, which is very different for Romain, and that even in of itself represents the effect that this has had on him, because even in his skills as a guitar player, it's caused him to be muted. Oh my god, Romain coming through with just the intense meaning and metaphors and just everything. And I like how he actually pops off the screen here too, right? Because everything else feels like it doesn't even exist to him, but he exists in this gray. Wow. I love that shot. Also, shout out to Romain for having like the flowers and stuff, because like, you know, a lot of people, like a lot of guys feel like, oh, flowers, I can't be around flowers, what will that do, you know what I mean? And Romain just owns it. I've seen him like wear dresses, wear like cool skirts. It's such a refreshing thing to see, because it's like he just wears what he wants, right? Like whatever he thinks is his style. And that's just it. We're not limited by what we're expected to wear. Whatever we're expected to wear is whatever. If you enjoy wearing something, just wear it. Oh, Romain, man, you beautiful soul.
Is it better now? And do these tears run down from cry or laughter?
Oh, man.
Could have stayed the night and be a better man the morning after. I'd stay.
Yeah, I love, like, there's so many good thought shots in here. Like one is like the camera watches as he kind of takes, like, I think it's a microphone or it's either a phone. Regardless, it's something you either want to use, to convey a message, right? But you get tied up in that thing, and he literally ties it around his head to represent that. What a great way to show that, right? And then like a couple of the, just the way that he's now in his room, kind of away from even the outside world, where he's kind of trapped with his thoughts, and that's what we're seeing here. Whereas we, every time we see a shot of her, she's free, she's out in the open. It's like she's gone away from where he is, right? Quite literally, and that's what we're seeing. Oh my god. Sorry, I got so lost in like the way that these are being represented visually that it's so powerful. Because even when he's writing on the mirror, part of that, if you're writing on a mirror, that means you're also looking at yourself. And so in a way, you're kind of reflecting on your past, and in that he's still writing the things that he wish he had done, because when he looks back, he wishes he had been a better man. Oh my god, just so good. Okay, let me go back a second. Sorry.
Is it better now? And do these tears run down from cry or laughter?
Yeah. You know those moments when you reflect on someone and they were such a positive force in your life and you enjoyed their presence in your life so much that you start to literally cry, and you're not sure if you're crying because of how amazing your life was in those moments, right? So you're crying of laughter, of just the fun and the joy that you shared together, or you're crying at the loss of it. You're crying at the fact that it's all gone and you don't even know, because it's just tears coming down and you can't even, you're mentally, you're so clouded that you can't figure out which one of those you're feeling, whether it's loss or laughter of happiness. Oh my god, what a great way to say that. And here we get her on a merry-go-round, which even represents going around and around, which I wonder if that's what the relationship felt like, right? Because now we get a shot where we're actually kind of looking at her, right? Maybe this is actually his flashback of their time together. I was thinking of it as just a perspective, but now it's maybe his perspective of their past, and that's what we're seeing. And but even then, while they were together, they were on this merry-go-round that just kept going around. Oh my god!
I could have stayed the night and be a better man the morning after. I'd stay.
Yo, and it's be a better man in the mirror, because that's what he wants to achieve, because he realizes the mistakes that he made, maybe, and then maybe they weren't even mistakes that like he should feel responsible for, but you can definitely feel that that's the vibe we're getting here, right? Because like be a better man by staying the morning after, because instead of just leaving after job's done or whatever you guys are doing, you could have been better than that, and you could have stayed with that person, spent the night with them, and been intimate rather than just lustful. And that's something that he reflects on and thinks of, I should have been better than that. And how many of us do that, right? So many of us do that. We go back in these moments that we obviously cannot change, because the past is the past, and then we spend time just creating these alternate timelines of decisions that we could have made, and just how one choice could have changed the outcome entirely, right? Like everyone does. I do it, and it's such a human thing to do, to go back, revisit moments, and try to think of how they could have improved. Holy.
Morning after, I'd stay if you turn off the light and let the dark taking care of the lights. We're scared, but it's easy to ride when the night is young.
Okay, I don't necessarily know that I know exactly what that means, but something I really like about that is, like, it's almost like the later that it gets in the day, the worse the decisions that we make, right? So he almost says like, I wish I would have stayed if we turned out the light, like, because if we've been able, almost like a representation of closing our eyes, we wouldn't see all the pain and the sorrow, right? So like we're able to keep those lies under wraps, all of the issues that exist. And so if we had turned off the lights, metaphorically, we don't see those anymore, right? But then on top of that, we're getting this shot of them like on this enjoyable ferry ride. I don't know what this is. It's like a tram almost, right by the sea, right? Where they were both almost free together. And now we have whenever we see a shot of Romain on his own, he's alone, kind of closed off, either in a secluded area or just on his own, and this is such a contrast to the experience that he's having right now. I want to go back. Oh yeah, we're scared, but it's easy to ride when the night is young. That's the big thing. It's like, as when the night is younger, you don't think about the mistakes that you've made as much. It's like almost as the night gets longer and the darkness seeps in, kind of like what we're getting at in the first line, you start to think more and more about the issues, right? And that's why he says it's easier. We're scared, but it's easy to ride when the night is young, because when the night is young, you don't have time to think about all these things. You have time to just enjoy your moments with these people. And the night might not even be one night; it might be metaphorical for an entire relationship, right? So when the relationship is young, we're scared, but it's easy because we're just jumping into it. But as the relationship matures and we're supposed to mature with it, if something goes wrong, it becomes very evident and unhinges the whole thing. Holy.
We're scared, but it's easy
and the waves to wash away. Oh my god.
to ride when the night is young. You said we've already tried. This burning flame has already died. It felt like 1,000 knives in my broken lungs.
You're scared. Oh my god. One thing I really like about this line, it felt like 1,000 knives in my broken lungs, is that his lungs were already broken before the knives went in. So something was already hurting him before the knives went in, which is the knife that the relationship is ending, right? Because we get that it was a burning flame, right? You said we've already tried, the burning flame has already died. So it was such a beautiful love. It was so intense. It felt like literally like a flame. But on top of that, this is her saying, like, we gave it a shot, we gave it our best, but the flame, it's gone out. So there's nothing left for us, right? And that's like one of the most painful things, especially when you're in that relationship and you still think there's something left for you to fight for, but the other person's given up. Well, at that point, and this is advice to anybody, if you're ever in a relationship like this, fighting for that relationship might not be worth it anymore, because if that person is checked out, almost no matter what you do, that relationship is probably over. And if that's the case, it's probably for the best. So as much as it hurts in that moment, as much as it feels like 1,000 knives going into your already broken lungs, maybe it's time to let that person go, right? And I really like the metaphor of that, like the 1,000 knives into my already broken lungs, because it's almost like you were screaming out, or like, because you use your lungs to create air that ultimately makes sound, like song and voice, right? And so maybe that's why he was trying to get things across, and that's why his lungs are actually already broken, because he had been trying to shout and talk for so long, and that's why these feel like 1,000 knives going into the lungs. Damn, man.
Already died. It felt like 1,000 knives in my broken lungs.
I love how she has such like a childish happiness nature to her. Not in like a, oh, she's like a child. I mean, like, look at how jovial everything feels, right? She's got this excitement to her. It's like a new love, and that's what we're seeing. And this is his flashbacks, is all these new love eras of their relationship, when he's trying to come up with a new happy song to make him get out of the rut that he's in thinking about the relationship, but all you can think about is those positive moments. And that's the worst part about this, is whenever something like this happens, we have this bias that we go back and revisit all the best moments of the relationship, that we forget about how the relationship might have also had turmoil. And so we idolize and put it on this pedestal, this relationship that existed, but that wasn't the only aspect of the relationship. And we have a lot of trouble seeing that when it first ends. It's like it takes us time to really truly filter out and understand all of the problems that also existed alongside of those positives, because we didn't want to see those problems at the start, especially when something's going to end. We're trying to rekindle the flame. We're trying to make the other partner remember the good times too, but they're already kind of, the reason that they know that it's going to end is because they're already seeing the bad sides. Oh my God, Jesus. Okay.
And I'm way out of my mind, can't think straight most of the time. Pretend that my body is proud and my heart is strong. I'll wait till you
pretend that like isn't that it? Like when that thing ends, when that relationship ends, you look back and you try to pretend like you're totally fine, right? Because you don't want to be a burden on anyone else. You don't want anyone to think you're weak. So you spend so much time trying to pretend like you're this strong stone of an individual who doesn't feel the pain of loss at all, right? And the worst part about that, as mentioned a second ago, is that our mind is usually all tied up, right? And that even goes back to what we were talking about with the phone cord, like where everything is kind of a mess in our mind. Well, that's what's happening here, is we can't think straight, right? It's literally our mind is tied up. And yet we still have to we think we have to put on this facade that we are this unyielding rock of steadiness. And that's what we're trying to show the world, even though internally we're like bleeding. Oh my god.
I'll wait till you open the blinds, pick up our clothes that fell on the sides. One day this will be a line in a happy song.
Oh my god. Because you could think of that line as two parts, right? It could be you're picking up those clothes because you had a good night and you enjoyed it, and that you're kind of putting them on and you're gonna meet again. But from the way that we've seen in the song, it's actually not that path we're taking. The path is actually that she's picking up the clothes off the ground because she's leaving, right? And this is the last time we're gonna see her. And that hurts the most, but we're gonna wait for her to come back and open the blinds. And think about what that means. The blinds give you like space to see through your window where you would expect the sun to come in. And that's why it's been all gray, because we're always in our room with the blinds closed thinking about this relationship. So we're still waiting for her to come back, or whoever it is to come back, to open the blinds to allow us to see the light and to see the sun and to feel the goodness that exists in the world. But without that, we still feel that brokenness. And this is such a powerful metaphor for the end of a relationship. Like, this whole song has been so fantastic. I'll let it play out right to the end, but I think that was about it.
In a happy song.
Yeah. Wow. Just wow. What a great representation of the ups, downs, and the pain and loss of the end of a relationship, that makes you feel so hurt that it's almost like everything is muted. And I love that we feel that in the musical cues. So there's a lot of light here. I'm gonna put this down. But we see that in the musical cues too. The way that Romain carries this track with his guitar, it's such a simple strumming, because that's what we're left with inside. It's just the bare kind of innards. It's just whatever structures existed at the beginning, that's what we feel. And everything else, like the emotion, the intense ideas, the creativity, all that seems gone, because we're left in this mood or moments of our life where everything is bleak. And that's why we're just getting this very simple strumming. And I love that choice, because we know Romain can kill on the guitar. It's very obvious to us, but this is a stylistic choice to cater to the meaning of the song, and that just adds so many layers. But on top of that, he does such a good job of encapsulating the emotions that we experience, especially the hopefulness, like the wanting and the yearning, without making it too obvious in our face, because he's saying is he wants a happy song, right? But that happy song, the reason he wants a happy song is his relationship that made every happy song feel like the meaning was about them, now has tattered and torn. And now that it's gone, every happy song feels like it's sad, because we had attributed them to the happy songs. So we need a new happy song. And that could even be taken metaphorically as not a new song or a new understanding of songs, but a new person in our life to make us feel better, right? Holy Romain, this was fantastic. This was so beautifully written, and I love it. I love it so much. Fantastic, man. Great job. If you liked the breakdown, feel free to like, comment, subscribe, or don't. Who am I to tell you to do anything? Do whatever you want. But make sure that your week is better than your day, your month is better than your year. Hang on a second. Better than your week, and then your year is better than your month. And I will see you on the next one. Love you all.